What is going on, GBA fans? My name is Burke, and today I'll be bringing you the conference finals pick and crew for the GBA Season 7. It's just myself again today. Maddie is very busy with post-graduation stuff. He just graduated last week, so, congratulations to him. And because of that, moving and whatnot, he's been very busy, and we haven't had time to record, so I'm just doing this by myself. So yeah, as we can see from last week, we all did pretty good. Most of us getting George versus Gator right, and all the rest of the matches we were fairly split, so obviously half of us got him right, half of us got him wrong. But as you can see in the totals column, there's only 4 matches, but there is a total of 5 points to be distributed. That was because the lock of the week was worth 2 wins or 2 losses. So we had 3 5-0s for the first round of the playoffs, and currently going into the second round, we have Baby Nick, who is just barely pulled ahead at 71-29. I am unfortunately just behind him at 70-30, and then right behind me is Jared at 69-31. So moving on to the conference finals, you can see we still have a lock of the week this week. Next week we'll be moving the locks of the week because there's only 1 match to pick. Last week we did a double down. This week we're doing a triple down. So the lock of the week this week is worth 3 wins if you get it right, or 3 losses if you get it wrong. The other match that you don't lock is just as normal. The first conference final we have is between Monotui and the Tampa Bay Lux Rays, and Septile MC and the San Francisco Arcaniners. These 2 matches coming up are just extraordinarily hard to call. As you can see, we're all fairly split on both. I decided to go with George. Mono and George are very accomplished league format players. They have their plan very well. They play very well every single week. They both had very strong seasons, but I decided to go with George. I think George, aside from the little hiccup in the beginning of the season, George's been really strong. I think he went 3-3 and then all of a sudden went 9-3. So he went on 6-game win streak. This is his now repeat in the semifinals of the GBA, and that's not to say Mono hasn't been doing well. They are only 1 win apart each. They have played already twice this season. The first time George did lose 4-0. The second time I'm pretty sure George won. It was week 12. They were both in the playoffs. They were just doing a meme battle, so that I don't really think counts. They didn't plan either very well, just because that's what you do in a meme battle. So just like in the first round of playoffs, I said that I always give the advantage to the person that lost the first time, and that is George. George did lose the first time, so I think he can figure out how to rearrange his team this time to catch Mono off guard, or just be able to see what Mono brought last time and maybe make adjustments, because neither have made really many transactions. Mono only made 1 throughout the season, and George only made 2. So it's not like their teams changed much since the last time they played, and because of this, I think George does have the edge. Team matchup wise, it's very hard to tell. I think they have very comparable team matchups. Jirachi is looking great for Mono. Some sort of calm mindset can really tear through George's team. Buzzwole is, as always, a consummate threat. It can hit a ton on George's team, but then again, you look at George, and George does have answers for things like Jirachi, like Buzzwole, like Zygarde, things that are very hard to actually deal with. George does have answers, but then again, George's offense, Mono has answers. So it's really going to come down to who plans better. And this season, I think that after George had kind of shaken off a little bit of the mid-season slump and he started planning every week, he's been doing fantastic. And so I am going to go with George and the San Francisco Arcaniners, and that is going to be my lock of the week. The second conference final is going to be between the San Diego Chim Chargers and the San Francisco Giants. Most people are going with San Diego Chim Chargers. A few of us are going with the San Francisco Giants. I am going with the San Francisco Giants. The last time that MV and Geo played was earlier in the season. MV did win, and as I said for the last match, I always give the edge to the person who lost the previous match, because they can make, I think, more adjustments to their team based on what their opponent brought last time, because every time you play a battle, you think you plan your best, and if you win, then you're like, yeah, my prep worked. If you lose, then you can go back and see what went wrong and maybe make some adjustments, fine-tune the team. I do give the advantage to Geo just based on that alone. if we look at the team matchup, I do actually really like Geo's matchup. You have Mons that Geo's been using very, very well this season, like Salamence. Salamence is looking like a huge threat. I get Landorus T is there, but Landorus T is kind of it's a check, not really a counter to Salamence if Salamence starts setting up. And then you've got things like Tapu Fini, which, you know, MV can deal with, but it does become a little bit harder to deal with. And then Conkeldurr, just a gigantic threat, very strong wall breaker. But then again, you look at MV's team and some of the offensive threats that Geo might be able to bring, like Gengar, do kind of get neutered by, you know, he's got a Alolan Muck and Pursuit Trap. So it is really going to come down to if Geo is able to use Salamence the way he's been using it the previous weeks, especially last week in the playoffs, and find a time to set up. I think that's going to be very hard for MV to deal with. But likewise, if MV finds a time to set up with something like Landorus T at Dual Dance can put a huge hurting on Geo's team, especially if the Bronzong is gone. So it's really going to depend on, I feel like, who is going to be able to set up first. And for me, I think Salamence is just a bigger threat to MV's team than something like Landorus T is to Geo's team. So I am going to go with Geo and the San Francisco Giants. It is either match. I was very split on this. They both did extraordinary this season, and I can see either one winning, but I am going to go with Geo and the San Francisco Giants. So that is going to wrap up the conference finals pick'em crew for the GBA Season 7. As always, please leave your picks down in the comment section below. The season is very quickly wrapping up, so make sure you got your point totals counted correctly for the end of the season. Then you can, I don't know, brag about how well you did or cry about how poorly you did throughout the season. But we will be having, obviously next week will be the finals pick'em crew, and then there will be one more pick'em crew after that, just kind of going over the entire season, who won, who lost, and all of that fun stuff. So anyway, that is all I got for today. My name is Burke. I'll see y'all next time.